Congressman Rohrabacher, welcome to VOA. Let me start with the timing of the hearing. Right now, the relationship between Pakistan and the U.S. is at a critical juncture. The two had tensions, and now it seems like the tensions are easing, and this hearing could jeopardize that. Would you comment on what prompted you to have this hearing at this particular time?
Yes, if this hearing, by trying to bring out the truth and bring out facts that people don't know, is in some way going to jeopardize our relationship with Pakistan, that means that Pakistan must be doing horrible things that are not in the interest of the United States, like aiding and abetting the monster who slaughtered 3,000 Americans on 9/11, and then arresting the man who helped us bring the murderer of all of our Americans to justice and calling him a traitor. This is an important time for us to bring out the true facts about what's going on in Pakistan.
Since you brought it up, you want to give U.S. nationality to the man who helped U.S. bring Osama bin Laden to justice. What do you hope to achieve? Do you hope to then fight for him as a U.S. national?
Once the United States is composed of every race and every religion and every ethnic group. The only thing that we've got going for us is a love of liberty and justice, and yes, a faith in each other, where we are part of the same family. When someone kills 3,000 Americans, they have committed an attack on our family. And if someone, especially a doctor, steps forward to help us, we're going to be grateful to that, for that. And I believe that by declaring this hero, this American hero, who tried to bring to justice the murder of 3,000 members of our family, to declare him a traitor to his country for helping bring justice to the murder of Americans, that is a declaration that by Pakistan that they are no longer friends of the United States, that they are our enemies. They are making that declaration, we aren't.
What are the chances that you will succeed? You've just moved this bill.
I think that it's going to take a while, and Pakistan will be given a decent time to act on their own. But this bill will move forward within a few months if that doctor is not released. And every minute that they keep him is a statement to the American people that they are our enemies. The people who have charged this man with treason, well, how do you commit treason if you're helping an ally? No, you commit treason if you're helping an enemy. By charging him with treason, they have declared that the Pakistan government is an enemy of the United States. And if they want that to end, they're going to have to make amends for that. They're going to have to let this doctor go, and they're going to have to basically quit aiding those people who are killing Americans. We know that the Taliban have been receiving their guns and their bullets and their mines that have been killing Americans for the last 8 years. They've got to stop
it. But the Pakistanis say that the doctor actually helped the intelligence agency of a foreign country, an ally, but a foreign country, without telling them, and that the U.S. would be unhappy if their public starts helping MI6 or Mossad or the intelligence agencies without telling the CIA.
If there was someone who was engaged with trying to bring a mass murderer to justice, we would not charge him with treason. We would probably give him a gold medal. We have 3,000 Americans, civilians, unarmed people, slaughtered in front of our face. Anybody, the Pakistani government, who can charge that man with treason, who helped us bring to justice the murderer of those 3,000 people, is not someone who's an enemy of Pakistan. He's someone, or if someone was in our case bringing someone who had murdered him, wouldn't be an enemy of the United States. He'd be just someone who's looking for simple justice.
So if he is given a U.S. nationality,
yes,
and he is not released by that time by Pakistan, what will be your next step?
Well, if he is not released by Pakistan within the time period that this comes up, and we pass this law, and even if we don't pass this law, we are going to expect that Pakistan will release him. And if he is not released, one way or the other, Pakistan ain't going to get one more penny from the United States. Pakistan isn't going to get their weapons, which they have turned around and used to murder Americans. Pakistan is going to have to understand that the people of the United States know when they're being treated like fools and like enemies. And we will go to people who are our friends rather than someone like Pakistan who helps the murderers of Americans.
Can you give somebody nationality by passing a law? Is
Yes.
it an executive function,
Yes.
or is it
It's a legislative function.
It's a legislative function.
That's
so
correct.
you do have the power
Yes,
to
we
give
do.
him.
The
Okay.
Congress has a right to declare someone a U.S. citizen.
So the State Department, when they said that it's just a recommendation, was not accurate.
That's correct. This is not a recommendation. This is a law that makes him a U.S. citizen. If Congress passes it, he will become a U.S. citizen.
Now, you mentioned something in the hearing. You said if we're to be taken seriously, we have to be consistent. And you mentioned Kashmir and the right of
That's right.
self-determination. Will you then follow up this claim with a hearing on Kashmir where news of human rights violation is coming out in the recent months and years?
When India arrests a doctor who is responsible for helping us get someone who's slaughtered 3,000 of our countries, we'll hold that hearing.
But not on human rights violations.
No, the fact is that Pakistan has been assisting the person who slaughtered American citizens in large numbers. Pakistan has been giving weapons to the people killing American soldiers. India has not been doing that. Well, I believe that we must be consistent, and what the crimes that are committed in Kashmir should be condemned, as I have on many occasions, publicly and at hearings. But when we spend our limited time, I'm sorry, if someone's murdering Americans, we're going to spend our time condemning them before we spend our time condemning someone who's not.
Now, I understand your point, but you said that this was to understand what U.S. policy in the region should be.
That's correct.
And that we want to be consistent, so I understand that you will hold more hearings like that.
Don't know.
Okay. So if you hold future hearings, will they again be on Balochistan, or would there be?
The next hearing may be broader in scope and could include Kashmir. We might just have a hearing on borders, colonial borders that are now being enforced, and I wouldn't write that off. But it's not in the works right now. But had we not suffered the revelation that the Pakistani government has aided and given safe haven to the monster who slaughtered our own people, this probably wouldn't be this way either. This is anything that's coming up right now that the Pakistanis don't like about our attitude is being caused by actions taken by their government.
You mentioned some things in your opening remarks about Balochistan being annexed and etc. Do you today consider Balochistan a part of Pakistan?
Sure it is.
Okay, so you do consider it a part of Pakistan. Then how do you
look?
Well,
of course it is. But it's composed of people who have human rights, and when you have a country and you have sovereignty, you have official sovereignty, and they are officially, Balochistan is now part of Iran and part of Afghanistan and part of Pakistan, and that the same way with the Kurds up in is the Kurdistan. Is the Kurdish regional area in Iraq part of Iraq? Yes, it is. Could someday these regions be independent? Maybe. Depends on how the people make deals and interact and make their demands, and whether it's the Kurds or the Baluchis or the Kashmiris. And the situation may change. But right now, sure they are. They're part of Pakistan.
And would you like to comment on the violence that's coming from Baloch separatist movements or nationalists against?
Yeah, we've made that very clear at the hearing, and I've always made that clear, that if you're going to be consistent, you got to be consistent. You can't be for the rights of Balochistan and not be also for the rights of the people of Kashmir. And just like in Kashmir and in Balochistan, you have people who live there who are suffering certain levels of oppression. They're seeing their own loved ones being killed and murdered by the government, and they react and they overreact. And for the people of Balochistan to murder anybody else, a Punjabi or a Pushtun who is there, is wrong, and that's not the way. That's not the way to make a moral case for your rights being respected if you go and you murder someone else. So we've got no problem condemning those type of things.
Now, something came up on the hearing. Something came up during the hearing that was very interesting, which some experts said that when the U.S. gave a green light under the big umbrella of the war on terror to pick up people and hold them without trial, that increased the level of disappearances and torture, etc. And so do you think the U.S. is somehow partially responsible in Balochistan and other parts of the world for...
No, not at all. What we did in the, quote, war on terror and the ongoing war on radical Islam, which is the basis of the war on terror, we were picking up people who were engaged in their goal, in their activities, were engaged in plots and plans to murder people in the name of God and to assert authority over others in the name of God, as if God talks to them. The United States was picking up people who were a threat to others. What the Pakistani government is doing is utilizing those tactics in order to suppress people who want nothing more than freedom to live their lives. There's a big difference between, look, policemen carry guns. If a policeman kills a murderer, it is a lot different than when a murderer kills an innocent person. Yeah, they both killed somebody, but no, right now, fundamentally, the policeman is fine in what he's doing, but the murderer is not. And in this case, the United States, in picking up terrorists and trying to break the back of a terrorist network supported by the Pakistani government, is different than the Pakistani government supporting those terrorists and using those same tactics to repress the people of Balochistan and elsewhere.
But the argument is that the U.S. was looking the other way while Pakistan was picking up whoever they wanted in the name of the war on terror.
Yeah, we made a mistake. We have trusted Pakistan way too long, and they have played us like suckers. Pakistan is the embodiment. The Pakistani government, the ISI, is the embodiment of radical Islam that slaughters people in the name of their own religion. They have been providing the guns, the ammunition, and the support system. That's why Osama bin Laden ended up for 8 years sitting right next door to the ISI headquarters. So, no, there's a big difference there. And
next door to the military academy,
yeah,
the ISI headquarters.
Okay.
There was a military academy where the recruits train, but that's fine.
Yes.
What I want to know is, where do you see going forward from here, from this point, with Pakistan?
I see it's all up to them. It's all up to Pakistan. Pakistan right now is being put on notice. If our government isn't willing to do it, the Congress is. We're putting Pakistan on notice. You are no longer going to be able to get any assistance from the United States while you are assisting those who are murdering American troops and murdering unarmed civilians in the name of radical Islam. We're not going to put up with this anymore. If Pakistan decides we want to be part of the family of nations, we want to be more of an open society that respects the rights of others and is not engaged in a war to slaughter innocent people in order to intimidate the Western world or intimidate the people of India, if they're willing to give that up, we will have great relations with them. This isn't, by the way, I have many Muslim friends. And when we talk about Balochistan, almost all of these people are Muslims. This isn't an anti-Muslim thing at all. This is where you have a group of people who happen to be Muslims. If they were Christians, it would be the same, saying we have a right to slaughter these other people because God speaks to us. And that means that even women, which God says have to be totally covered, can't be work on television or all the other great revelations that God has given these people about what they're going to do to us. Well, I'm sorry, the Pakistani government has got to distance itself from that if they want to be friends with the rest of the world, and especially be friends with the United States. It's up to them. All we're asking for is to be treated the way we would treat them.